Hey everyone, welcome back to my Devon Nails. Today, this whole video is about how to use those really cool shaped, larger size glitters. So, a whole bunch of dips have these. I feel like they become really popular around spooky Halloween season. I also see a lot of them going into like that holiday season. So today the ones I'm going to be using are from Zebra Glitter and More. I bought these around New Year's of this past New Year's because I absolutely loved them. They are Shiz Crazy and You're Driving Me Batty, and they both have these really fun shaped glitters that are shaped like bats. I had to do, well, I didn't have to do, I wanted to do a Batman comic book themed set to celebrate one of my Instagram friends' birthdays. And so I pulled these out because I thought, hey, Batman, I didn't have any stamping plates that fit that theme. I'll go with these really cute bats. And so I thought that this video would be a great opportunity to give you my not a pro tips on how to use these larger shaped glitters, especially where you're not necessarily going to want like, I mean, maybe you do. It could be really cool. But for this particular mani, I didn't want just like all the bats. I wanted selective bats in just the right places. So come along with me. I'll help you all out. And we'll make this really fun Batman inspired kind of spooky season using our glitter dips and more with those shaped glitters. All right, y'all, come on along.
Hey everyone, so let's look at these dips first. I got these, like I said, a few months ago, even though they're spooky season. And this one is You're Driving Me Batty, and then Shiz Crazy. They both came in a set of 4 that were Halloween sets offered by Zebra Glitter and Nails. And then I paired them with this Vanilla Bean Cream from Kozmik Nails. I won that on one of their Facebook giveaways. So definitely go check out all of these Facebook groups for these different companies. They're amazing. It's a great place to share your manis, and it's super fun to just feel like you know the owners of these small businesses. So I'd highly recommend it. Then what I like to do is if I'm using a big shape glitter like this, I like to pull out the glitters first. That way I have a few less in the actual dip, meaning I'll probably get less on the nail. And because I want to hand place these and get them exactly where I want them, I don't want to pick up as many as I'm dipping. So you'll see in there in that first nail I had 1 or 2 of the little bats. I just pulled them off because they weren't exactly where I wanted them, which I knew to begin with, which is why I pulled out the ones that I'm going to use later. I am going to do a little bit of stamping, and so I'm going to dip this pinky nail into that Kozmik Vanilla Bean Cream just to have kind of a white creamy base. And then this green is just so fun. It's so bright, and it really got great coverage. I'm going to do 2 dips for both of these colors just to get a little bit more opaqueness. Kind of liked where that bat ended up, so I left it. Then I'm just going to brush off all of the excess and dip again into this. I tapped it a little to bring those really pretty orange and purple glitters to the top. I love these colors for Halloween and spooky season. They give all of the fall vibes, and I'm ready for it. So I made this mani a few months ago in the summer, and it just got me so ready for fall. So I'm so excited to be putting it out here for you all. Hopefully it gives you a little bit of spooky season inspiration. I know there's so many places that are still so hot. It was 95 degrees here in Chicago this past weekend, so we're totally hanging out at the beach with my fall mani on. So I know it's not really fall feels everywhere, but I'm getting ready for it. So when I'm using these shaped glitters, let me talk about what I do. I try to roll them just a little. You can use tweezers and just fold them in half, but what I notice is that does leave a crease, and you can sometimes notice that crease, especially if you've got a good shine on your top coat. So I like to kind of roll them. You can use, like, this is like a micro swab. You can also use a pencil or a cuticle tool, and I just kind of use my palm and just run it over here. You can see I was a little out of camera, but I think you get the general gist. you're not going to be able to notice a whole bunch that they're like super curved. It just gives just enough that when you put it on your nail, it's not completely flat. And then I did use my tweezers here to kind of just wrap it around that one just a little bit to give it a little bit more of a curve. And this is really going to help them to not be as like above your nail, so you won't have to worry about potentially filing them off or them sticking above your top coat or above your clear layer. And this can work for any chunky glitters. I've definitely done this on those like hexagonal shaped pieces. So it's a little cumbersome because it's hard to hold on to them because they're so little, especially if your nails are a little bit longer, but I definitely say it is worth the trouble. It makes the next steps when using these types of glitters so much easier. Then I just put base coat on the entire nail. Choose where I want them, and I am using my iDipped liquids, so they are a medium dry time, so I have time to move it around, and then I dip straight into my clear. Here I'm using my KMG Clear as Day. I've depotted it into a bigger container, so that's why it's a little bit bigger than the KMG containers, because I had two halves, or I had a half and like a 3/4, so I just poured them into this larger dip container that I had. And so you can see I'm just doing the same thing. You can see that they are much flatter. I added a few of the glitters from the other dip onto this green one to give it a little bit more of a cohesive, fun look. And now I'm just going to go over the top and give them all a clear layer on top. This one already had that bat on it. And then I'm going to do one more dip into the vanilla bean cream to get a nice opaque on that one for my stamping. Had one little bat I didn't use, so I'm going to clean that up. And here I go for my next step. So I'm going to repot these little bats into their jar, and then I'm going to make sure to get off all of that first layer of clear. So clear will cloud even a great clear like KMG's Clear as Day if you don't get off the excess. So because I dipped into clear after putting that bat on, I want to make sure I have clear on top of the bat. So I used my stiff brush to get off the first layer of clear, just the excess, and then I'm going to dip back in. So you can see when I use it here, it clears up a lot of that excess that you can see. And then I'm just going to dip straight back into that clear. It's super easy. This mani was so fast and so fun. And I think that these big chunky glitters, they just can add so much to a mani with very little effort. I absolutely love stamping and decals, but chunky glitters like this are so fun and so fast. You can find so many different shapes. You can even find companies that sell them in their own little jars so they're not mixed in with a dip. And you probably don't need me to tell you this, but don't shy away from using a chunky glitter in a different color. So if you've got these cute little bats, but you want to make one of those cute spooky season manis that are like in the pastel colors that I've been seeing everywhere on Pinterest, go for it. Grab out these bats and put them on top of a pink or another color that you might have. I have these really cute little lightning bolts that came in a Sundara nail dip, and I use them all the time on other colors as well as the dip that they came in. So definitely don't shy away from that. It's so fun to be able to mix and match these, and it gives your dips a whole lot of just different versatility and use. So I'm just pushing these down a little as I put on that clear, and I have to do a lot less of that because I took that time at the front to do that little bit of curving. Because if not, they would be definitely sticking up on those wings, because these nail tips have not a huge C curve to them, but just enough. And I do make sure to get this gel, or whoa, let's see if I can speak today. I do take time to get my base liquids under any parts of these little bats that are sticking up to make sure that they can kind of stick back down, and having the clear and pressing down on them lightly definitely helps with that. So then I go in here and I'm just going to take off that clear again the same way that I did. And you can already see it's taken off so much. You can see that bat really clearly, even though it does have a layer of the clear on top. That's why I love this KMG Clearest Day. I can put it on top of decals, I can put it on top of these bats, I can put it on top of cream colors, glitters, really anything, and I don't have to worry about getting a cloudy look or have to worry about not having it where I might have scratched these glitters. So now I'm going to activate just like always. And I do make sure that I get the activator underneath these little bats if anything has potentially kind of just stuck up. So I just kind of try to go around them all the way. This one got a little bit up, so I'm going to use this little micro swab to stick it back down while that activator is helping it to harden. And that worked really well. And then the last one with activate, I'm going to buff, and I don't have to worry about scratching them because I use that clear. And then at the end, I'm going to go in and I'm going to do that little bit of stamping on to that pinky. So this was a comic book themed mani for a friend on Instagram's birthday. And so I kind of went with like a Batman theme, which is why I went with these little bats. And so I'm going to put like a comic book like pow with like the little speech bubbles with my stamping plates. I have one from Maniology. I think it's actually one of the first ones I got. I think it came in that really great starter kit they have. So if you haven't seen, you can get like, I think it's 2 Maniology plates and I think 2 polishes, a scraper, and a stamper, and you only pay for shipping. That's how I got into stamping because I wasn't sure if I was going to like it, and I'm a little frugal, so I don't like to spend money on things that I might not use. So it was a really great deal. You do pay shipping, so they advertise it as free, and it is free, but you're paying shipping, so just know that. All I did is Google like free Maniology plates, and it usually comes straight up. If you are buying other things, you can always use Devon at Maniology to save just a little bit. If you're new to stamping or not, I think it's super fun, and it is a super fun way to add just a little bit to a mani like this one where it needed to feel a little bit more comic book to me. So I'm going to go in with my 2 layers of top coat. I do this first one super fast, 1, 2, 3, and try to float on my top coat so I don't contaminate. These IDT liquids are super hard to contaminate, but I still try to be careful because, you know, it's always good to be careful even if they are harder to contaminate. And they have a really great shine. You can see here that these bats are nice and flat. They're not going to poke out of the top coat, and they've stayed nice and under that clear, so I didn't end up scuffing any of them while I was buffing. I am just loving how these are looking. I think this glitter is really fun. So this is full coverage, but it is a more milky or clear base with these glitters. So if you wanted to get a look like this and you are not using white nail tips, which is what I started with, I would recommend using a white first layer, or even if you have this vanilla bean cream or something similar from Kozmik, that would be a great start. If not, they might not be quite as opaque as they are here because I do have that white nail tip under it. So now I'm going to go in to do this stamping. I'm going to use this red on this little speech bubble, and it is super fast. I'm just going to take off all of the extra and stamp it on there on that little nail. So cute, just a little added extra to give it more of a comic book vibe. And then I'm going to use black for the words. And I didn't like how that first stamp went, so I stamped it onto my little liner there. And now I'm going to go and try again. Sometimes when they're close to the edge, I feel like they're more difficult to stamp. Maybe it's just me. And there it is. Bam! Love it. When I posted this in the group chat for the birthday collab, someone said it reminded them of like the Joker poisoning the water and then Batman coming in to save the day. So I love that interpretation. Here is the final look. Those bats, I'm just loving them. This was by Devon, and I hope to see you on the next one, y'all. Bye!